I'm with Chris Scooter from Interact Global, a psychometric assessment company, and today we're talking about values. Chris, I find this is a fascinating topic. It's one that I've talked about with clients and studied myself for many years. So can you tell me a little bit about values and what you're providing?
Good morning, Tim. Yes, thank you. That's an interesting topic. Values is one of the aspects which receives a lot of attention lately and often also misunderstood, because values are the ones that are the culture of the organization. And the culture of the organization is driven from the top, not from the bottom. But often you find that the owner and or the top senior management team knows and has got their values set in their minds, but they do not know how to define it and to put it out there to the audience, which is usually their staff, in order for them to embrace the culture and to understand what are their differences with the culture of the organization and or how to embrace the culture of the organization. So there's this disconnect between the core values of the business, often misguided by the aspirational values of the business, and then the permission of play values, and then there's the accidental values and the functional values. And the functional values and the core values do overlap, but certain functions has got a bit of a different emphasis on values. If I may use an example, for example, on the sales team side, you might see that the entrepreneurial side or the risk value will take a preference above the company values, where the company might say we're a low-risk organization and we do not take risks. Yet in that department, because you want individuals who would want to work on a commission basis, and therefore that function calls for a little bit more risk and or somebody that's driven by risk. But the rest of the core values, like business ethics, for example, and or financial reward, might and need to be aligned with the company values.
So it's about getting employees aligned with what almost the purpose of the business is, and definitely the purpose of the business owner and why they want to be in business. Is that right?
That's correct. And, core values are the ones that differentiate the business from the competition. And that needs to be clearly defined, and is usually defined by the owner and or top senior management. But then the way of communicating it often gets stuck on a billboard and or is stuck on a PowerPoint presentation. And the communication of those core values are not clearly communicated throughout the organization, because they don't know what are the gaps between the individuals and the jobs and what the core values of the company is. And then you get a disconnect of culture. And as you know, culture eats you for breakfast.
Yes, culture is everything in the business. It's something that I put huge emphasis on with every business owner I work with. Let's get the employees together. Let's get them talking about their roles. Let's get them talking about the business and where the business is going, and get the employees very motivated over time. And I can see how the values kick into all that. If you get people that have completely different values or very different values, they're probably not going to work out in a business. And so the values assessment can be used for recruitment. Is that right? You can use it for recruitment, ongoing assessment.
Yes, you would use it for recruitment, and of course that is where it becomes very important. But provided you have determined your job benchmark or your functional benchmark, or you have determined your core values, so as that you could have, when you assess it for your recruitment, that you know what are the gaps or the differences. Let's say, for example, if you want to recruit somebody that is a salesperson and they have the gift of the gab, but they don't want to work for commission, then they would typically put their value for risk very low. And if that is the case, you are going to try and bring a horse to water and it's not going to drink.
Yeah, that's something that I often tell people. What I do is help horses to drink salty water that they don't want to drink. It's part of what I do. Creating change in the business to achieve major big breakthrough goals. So Fascinating, Chris. I think let's talk a little bit more about values next week. Let's talk about how to motivate employees to get them happier and excited and have a sense of purpose, and a few other values that I think are very relevant to workplace environments. So let's talk about that next video. Thanks for joining me, Chris. It's been a pleasure as always.
No worries. Thank you.